Right, morning everyone. It's Easter Monday. We've just spent a really good long weekend in the beautiful city of Dubrovnik, but it's time to head home. We've been treating my mum, in case you haven't been watching any of the earlier vlogs. She's had a fantastic time, and so have I, actually, making sure that she's had a fantastic time. We had a great meal last night in Dubrovnik. Feeling a bit groggy and a bit tired this morning. It's a fairly early flight. The flight's at 11:15, so time check, it's now 8:30. We're all packed, we're all ready to go. And it's time to check out the hotel and head to the airport. So yeah, quickly Steve, what do you think of our break here? Would you recommend people come to Dubrovnik?
Yeah, I would. I've never been, and as you can see by our faces, the nuclear look we're going for at the moment. The weather has been very, very nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of culture, a lot of history. The weird thing is though, that the food out here seems to be very Italian orientated.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But if you do like some traditional delicacies, you can find them. Yeah, the food's nice, the people are nice.
Apart from the bus driver yesterday.
Apart from the bus driver yesterday, the old town is just gorgeous. There's so much to do here. I would say it can be a little bit pricey. So like the cable car was like 30 something euros each. The meal we had last night was come to like 52 euros no, 67 euros per person, but that was for 3 courses and wine. Like the boat rides we went over to Lockroom, that was like 30 euros. So by the time you start like kind of adding it all up, it does come to a nice little penny. So make sure you bring your own pennies.
Absolutely.
Most places actually take card, which is fine, apart from
not all places.
Apart from those ones that insist on cash only.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that. But yeah, otherwise it's definitely a destination to come to for a long weekend, 100%.
Absolutely. But as we said, we're off home now, so we are heading to the airport shortly. We're flying British Airways again today, Club Europe, which is their business class product, which we've flown on a few times before. Never done the lounge at Dubrovnik before. I suspect it's just a bog standard contract lounge. We'll see what it's like when we get there in terms of what selection is, and hopefully we'll be able to show you a bit of footage of that, and then we'll show you a bit of footage in the flight. And then the next thing you know, we'll be back home in not so sunny, I don't think, West Sussex. There's apparently rain forecast when we get there, so we have got jackets in our bags just in case we need them. But anyway, stick along for the ride. Hope you enjoy our little travel day home, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Okay, so we've made it to the airport. The Uber driver was really, really good. We almost had a guided tour all the way here. He was pointing out all the little local landmarks, the hydroelectric power station, all the little villages and stuff along the way, and who lives there.
The zip wire.
The zip wire, yeah. So actually he was really good. And yeah, we're now at the airport, and I have to say, in the light of day, because we didn't really see much of it when we got here, it was dark, but this looks very different to how I remember. None of this cover that we're underneath at the moment was here, I don't think, when we first came here. No. Where we're standing now with a load of coach bays, I think for all the package holiday coaches to pick up their tourists and take them to the hotels and then again drop them off on the way back. It was all very concrete at the time, I seem to remember.
Yes, and basic.
And very, very basic. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like inside. We're going to head in now, check in, drop our bags, and then make our way through security. Mum needs to have a look at duty free quickly, and then hopefully we'll find ourselves a lounge to sit and relax in for a little bit. So we're curious to see what the airport looks like now, given that the outside is very much an upgrade to what we remember from the family holidays we had here in the 1980s. And as we walk in, we can see that the airport is still quite small and compact, but definitely less basic than it was when we were last here. The check-in desks are immediately in front of you, and there are display boards to say where you need to go. That said, the desks aren't open for our flight yet, so my mum is going to try and grab her last minute souvenirs now, so we have some time to relax in the lounge once we have dropped our bags off. Now, there really isn't a huge amount to do landside at this airport. We have found one small shop which thankfully seems to have stocked everything that my mum needs. However, there isn't really much else to do. Either way, the shopping is now done and our check-in desk is up, so it's time to drop our bags off. And probably not a minute too soon, to be fair. One thing I will say is that this is not an airport to arrive at too early. There are a few metal seat benches to sit on, but there really aren't that many. Not that the availability is a problem right now, as the airport is fairly quiet, but the lack of availability may be a problem, of course, at busier times. Our thought process for today, though, is more about how long could we sit on one of those metal seats waiting for our desk to open before they start to become uncomfortable. So one thing that I have noticed here is that there is a complete absence of any sort of tensor barriers or queue lines. And today that's actually not bothering me. The airport is quiet, so I don't think it's going to cause any kind of queue rage of any sort. But if there is one thing that the world needs to know, is that us Brits generally like a good queue, or a line, as our transatlantic friends would say. Nothing drives my anxiety more than when you see lots of desks and not knowing which one of those desks is the best one to line up at. That said, there is also something to be said about how uncluttered the lack of barriers makes this check-in area feel. And whilst we like a queue, no one likes to needlessly snake back and forth around a maze of posts and tapes when there is no one in front of you. Either way, it doesn't look like we're going to have long to wait today to drop our bags off, and that seems to apply irrespective of the cabin that you are travelling in. And lo and behold, off they go, complete with the orange priority tag. Let's see if that does its job when we're waiting at the baggage reclaim belt in a couple of hours' time. Once the bags are dropped, it's a fairly short walk to the security area. It's literally just behind the check-in area by the door by which we entered the terminal building a short while ago. There is an escalator, or again, for the benefit of our transatlantic friends, a moving staircase, which takes you upstairs to a security screening area. Now, I don't recall this from our trips here in the 1980s, so I'm assuming this upstairs area is a more recent thing due to demand growing and it being required for extra capacity. One thing that we have noticed though is that the priority lane seems to be closed at the moment. We're not sure if that's because it's not peak season right now or because it's not generally used more widely. We're in line though, and I'm keen to get to duty free as quickly as possible given that Stephen has some shopaholic tendencies. No one wants their lounge time depleted, right? So let's see how we get on. So through security, all fairly straightforward and easy to do. Stephen's gone shopping quickly, Mum's just waiting to fill up her water bottle, but so far so good, kind of easy. filling up very quickly though, that queue in security, and there was no priority line either, which was unusual. That said, for about 10 minutes all in all, getting from the point when we arrived in the queue to getting through and out the other side. So yeah, seamless, painless, and the staff were really friendly as well, which is always a bonus when you're in a security area. This is a new one for me, a Lego bonsai tree and a Lego orchid with flowers and stuff. Not sure about the price tag, to be fair. It doesn't appeal to me that much, but I suppose it's different and unique, right? Stephen has arrived with stuff in his hands, surprise, surprise. What have we got?
So I've got myself some fragrance because
Oh,
there's
that
no
one.
excuse
Okay.
not to smell nice. And it's called Reflections. It's like a newish, I think, well, new to me anyways. I've not seen it. It smells absolutely delicious.
Does it? So me and my mum just tried that, and we thought the original smelled better. The original Seco one.
Different tastes, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I got this for Max and Hannah.
which is a really nice shaped bottle full of Slivovich, is that? Slivovich,
A
yeah.
local delicacy.
Yes, very strong, very fruity. You don't need much of that.
No.
Okay, so we've now arrived at the business class lounge, which is going to be our home for the next hour or so. And I have to say, first impressions are really good. This lounge has a really chic feel about it. Unlike some of the European contract lounges, which have tiled floors and faux leather seats, this one has carpet and fabric upholstered seating, which is a real plus from a comfort perspective. Although from a practical point of view, the carpet does make it a bit hard to wheel a carry-on suitcase behind you. There are also a couple of departure screens featured in an easy-to-view location, and we'd love to hear what other people think about this. I like that it's easy to track your departure gate without having to go on a mission to find the nearest screen, but I suspect some people might think that it adds unnecessary clutter and distraction. So let us know your thoughts on that in the comments. In terms of catering, there's a fairly light touch approach here. There is a self-service bar area which is impressively well stocked considering it's still before midday at this point. There are also some chilled wines available, although we didn't spot anything of the sparkling variety on our trip today. Just past that area is a fridge full of local beers as well as some soft drinks, waters and juices to choose from, just in case you need to dilute some of those spirits with a mixer, of course. And lastly, in terms of drinks, there is a hot drink station too if you prefer a tea or a coffee. The selection on this front in terms of tea mixes and different types of coffee to choose from is fairly varied. Food-wise though, I think this is a weaker offering in this lounge. You have some butter, margarines and spreads, but not really anything to spread it onto. There are also some cereals, but not really any milk or yogurt from what I can see to go with it. And there's also a bit of a lack of crockery to put anything that you're picking up onto. You also have a selection of pre-prepared salads and sandwiches if you wanted to opt for something like that. Maybe out a little early in the day given it's still breakfast time, but looking quite tasty nonetheless. Again, there's a bit of a lack of anything to put them on though, which is a bit disappointing. There is one warm unit too with some sweet and savoury pastries, but a bit basic when you think about the hot buffet food that you can get back in British Airways' UK lounges. So food-wise, kind of okay, but a bit meh, and leaving us feeling grateful that we'd had breakfast before leaving the hotel this morning. And for those reasons, we're not going to be partaking in any of the food today. But overall, apart from the lack of crockery, this area does generally feel quite well looked after. One thing I will say though is that this lounge has one impressive pro, at least for an av geek like me. The fact that it's long and thin means that there are plenty of window spaces to look out at planes taking off and landing, including this one, our ride home that is due to take us back to Gatwick in probably what is now less than an hour's time. So this is a bit of an older aircraft, and in my day job working in the world of buses, we'd probably call it a heritage or a vintage vehicle. But for now, it's still earning its keep in mainline service. Believe it or not, it spent the lion's share of its early life working with Wizz Air, who these days are one of BA's biggest competitors at Gatwick Airport. It's been with BA since 2015 and more recently transferred to their Euroflyer subsidiary when that was set up in a post-COVID world. However, a fleet cascade within the wider BA operation means that its days are now numbered, and it's likely to be replaced by a newer A320 from the main BA Heathrow fleet in the not too distant future. But given that the aircraft is now coming into the gate, it's probably about time to check out when we need to think about leaving the lounge. And thanks to the wide availability of information screens, we don't have to venture too far to get some information on that front. Surprisingly though, the screens are saying that the flight is now boarding, and that implies that we should hurry ourselves along and get ourselves to the gate. From our vantage point though, it looks like they are still offloading the passengers from Gatwick at the moment and are not yet in a position to start boarding our flight back home. So we've decided that there is no need to rush just yet. And on that note, there is one big plus about this lounge that I just want to pick up on in case you haven't already noticed it. It's located in the non-Schengen area. And that means that you can relax in here in complete confidence that you don't have to hedge your bets around how much time to allow to get through passport control and onto your gate when it is time to leave the lounge. Those of you that have flown from an airport in the Schengen area will know exactly what I'm talking about on that front. Anyway, enough of our thoughts. For now, it's time to head to the gate and start thinking about getting our flight back home. So in case you've not noticed, there is not much structure to this boarding process. The initial entry point to the gate is to show your boarding pass to the ground handling agent, after which you'll put in this holding pen. But from that point, there is no coordination of boarding by seat rows or by cabins of any sort. When the time comes to get on board, the ground staff just open the barrier to the jet bridge and beckon the entire plane load of passengers forward. Now that could have been a lot worse than it's turned out to be for us, and somehow we have managed to find ourselves quite close to the front, but it could easily have been much different. This does look like it might be quite a full flight, so we can't help but feel a bit for the people that are further behind, especially if they need to compete for overhead baggage bin space. Irrespective of how chaotic the boarding might have been though, it isn't causing too many issues. Before long, boarding is complete, the jet bridge is being retracted, and it's time to get up into the sky. Okay, so now that we're up in the air, it's time for the onboard service to begin. And the crew have been really efficient at getting that started as soon as possible. Today we've opted for a glass of champagne, which for some reason always comes in these stumpy sort of glasses in British Airways long and short haul business class. Alongside that though is a packet of salted rosemary nuts, which I never cease to enjoy when I'm on a BA flight. It's all very tasty, and as you can see, it's clearly already gone to Stephen's head. In terms of food though, we've not been provided a menu on this flight, which is probably because it's a fairly short one. The crew have given us an option of braised lamb, vegetarian pasta, or prawn salad, which I'm about to choose from. My mum, on the other hand, will occasionally eat dairy or animal products, but generally prefers a plant-based diet. So we thought ahead for her and pre-booked a vegan meal. Let's see what we've ended up with.
So food's arrived. Mum's gone for a vegan option again. What have you got there, do you think?
Well, it's looking very delicious. I think it's some kind of Asian curry, because you've got what looks like a kind of a Thai sauce. I've got rice, I've got chilies.
Yeah.
Here I've got some little chickpea salads with some red pepper and sweet corn and herbs and things in it. I've got lemon posset, which looks very nice.
Lemon posset, interesting.
Yes.
That's normally maybe cream, isn't it? So I wonder what they've made that with.
Yeah, I wonder what it's done with, but obviously, so I got some glass bread.
Sunflower spread, yeah.
And I'll have a roll in a moment,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And we've topped up our champagne, because who doesn't like a glass of champagne?
Of course, yes.
And I've gone for lamb, which is like, I don't know what it is. It's like some kind of lamb stew. I'll tell you what it tastes like later, maybe. With some mashed potato and some veg. I've got like a little couscous salad thing, bread roll, and what it looks like a chocolate dessert. So we're going to tuck in and we'll tell you what we think about it afterwards.
So we've just finished off our food just in time to see the top of the Alps passing underneath us, and this is one of my favourite views in terms of things that you see on a daytime flight to or from southeastern Europe. Now the food was quite tasty. The lamb was really tender and juicy, and needless to say, I've polished it all off. My mum was equally as keen to point out that the vegan food was just as delicious too, and that's great to hear, given that vegan options can, on occasions, not live up to their non-vegan counterparts. And just a nod to the crew that we have on the flight as well. As with the flight out to Dubrovnik a few days ago, they have been equally as helpful and attentive without being too overbearing or in your face. And strangely, we have the same cabin service manager on board today as well, although this time she is mentoring a newly qualified manager as she leads her first flight. And just a quick note on the seating front. Now, I've referenced it a couple of times on previous vlogs, so I won't delve into it too much to avoid being repetitive, but it is the standard European airline approach to short-haul business class, and that is economy seats with the middle seat blocked out. I don't actually find that too bad. You have lots of room to spread out to the middle seat on your side if you need to, and it's handy being able to use the middle seat in front to store small bags underneath without it impacting on your leg space under the seat directly in front of you. But I do understand why it's not everyone's cup of tea, and it does perhaps seem a bit lower quality in terms of a product than some of the other short-haul business seats that you find elsewhere around the world. In-flight entertainment wise, there isn't anything on this flight, and that's standard for British Airways short-haul product, and I've had previous experience with the onboard Wi-Fi not being that great, so I've not purchased that for streaming anything today, but actually it's nice just to be able to sit and be sociable talking to my mum for a bit. It's amazing how much you can talk about if you really want to. Before we know it though, the plane is starting to descend, and it's time to make our way towards the runway at Gatwick Airport. First off the plane, always a good sign. Off to passport control. Hopefully be nice and quick for us, we'll see. So we've been disembarked at the Satellite in the South Terminal today, which is one of the furthest areas away from baggage reclaim. But being the first people off the plane means that we are on our way through the airport in no time at all. Now, Gatwick is not as busy as Heathrow, but is still a busy airport, ranking in the top 20 worldwide in terms of passenger numbers. From experience though, you don't feel the effect of that when arriving very often. The walk from the plane to passport control rarely feels overly busy, as you can see here, and it's rare to ever see any significant queues at passport control, unlike some of the American airports that we have transited through in the past. If you've ever had that experience, you will know exactly what we're talking about. Gatwick are very much committed to a quick and seamless transition through the airport on arrival, and have built and resourced their immigration and baggage reclaim areas to provide just that. It's rare to find a queue here, and the passport e-gates are simple and easy to use. In all, we're through passport control in a matter of mere seconds. And yes, the priority tags on our luggage did seem to do the job today at baggage reclaim, and in no time at all, we are landside and making our way out of the airport. Now, we often use the bus to get home. There's one every 6 to 7 minutes or so from the airport to where we live. But between the three of us, we have a number of cases today and don't want to take too much of the wheelchair space away from people who might rely on that to be able to make their essential journeys. So we've decided to get an Uber home, which, as you can see, has a pickup point which you can find in the short stay car park upstairs. Although one thing that I'd mention is that the mobile signal at Gatwick can be quite bad, so we'd recommend booking your ride in the terminal building using the Wi-Fi before heading to the pickup point. Hey everyone, so it is Tuesday. We have arrived back home. We didn't do an outro yesterday because we were kind of tired after a busy day's travelling, and we just wanted to kind of chill out, unpack, do washing, household, domesticated stuff, but
Life admin.
But we have had a fantastic trip to Dubrovnik, and I'm just going to go straight to Mum and ask her what she thought.
I was just completely blown away with the whole thing. As I've said before, this was something I didn't even know where we were going. It was just a mystery destination to me. And the fact that they managed to get me right the way through to the airport lounge before revealing where we were going, I thought was pretty amazing. I had the most fantastic time. I enjoyed every single minute of it, particularly going back to the island where we'd stayed all those years ago, 37, 38 years ago. Seeing the hotel.
You have to make me feel old now, don't you?
Yes, I know how to make you feel old. I think you should put up photographs that I took while you were there.
I might do actually. I'm sure we can find somewhere in front of Stephen's face, maybe to put some photos there, or we'll find a suitable spot to show you some of those photos, definitely.
But yeah, I had the most fabulous time. I'm going to dine out on these memories for a very, very long time. Thank you very much, guys. I loved it.
Well, that's okay. You're more than welcome. Steve, what was your highlight of the trip?
That's a really hard question.
Is that because there's so many of them?
Well, I didn't have the same affection for the place as you guys did, so I was kind of going in blind. But I have to admit, I really did enjoy the old town and the walls, and everything was just so in keeping. It was really, really beautiful place. I can see why it's a popular destination, and I think, as your mum said, it's a shame we didn't have longer there. But I think if we had any much longer there, we would have come back radiated because we didn't cover our skin up properly.
Yeah, quite. And if you guys can see my nose, it's a little bit red and peely at the moment. But anyway, that aside, for me, I think I love the fact that 39 or 38 years ago, whatever it was, I have my memories of that place, and actually I don't think it's changed that much in terms of the look and the feel. Yes, there, some of the shop awnings have changed, some of the shop names have changed, some of the restaurants have changed, but actually the kind of environment as a whole is very similar to what I remember back in the 1980s, and I think that's really special because there was that kind of awful time in the 1990s where there was the kind of Homeland War or Balkan War, whatever it was called, and they were all fighting each other. But yet somehow, through all of that kind of unpleasantness that was going on at the time,
the crux of what was there before has still survived through all that, and is still there today for people to enjoy and experience. And I would definitely recommend visiting Dubrovnik, or the Croatian coast, or the Dalmatian coast, whatever you want to call it. It's a thoroughly enjoyable place to be. The people are generally friendly. I won't mention the bus drivers; they're slightly different. The people are generally friendly, and I really enjoyed going back and reliving some of those memories. So yeah, definitely go and visit Dubrovnik. I have one more question to ask my mum. What do you think of British Airways business class?
British Airways business class was amazing. I've never flown business class. I probably never will again. But they just were so attentive, but not intrusive. The food was fabulous. We did indulge ourselves in more than one glass of champagne.
On the way back, yeah, absolutely.
And the seats were comfortable. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The business class lounge was very, very nice. Having normally sort of been down in the normal departures place, which was crowded quite often and noisy, and the selection of food was not always the best. I'm not a lover of fast food on the whole. So yes, it was a very different experience, and I can see why Luke and Steve feel that their flight is part of their holiday, whereas in the past I've just viewed it as some, a day to get through to get me from A to B. So yes, loved it. Thank you very much, guys.
That's because we normally drink a load and float onto the plane.
Oh, that's true. Anyway, so I think we're going to wrap things up there. We've had an incredible time in Dubrovnik. I've absolutely loved being able to treat my mum. She deserves it very much so. And having the opportunity to take her on a business class flight has been something that I've definitely treasured. I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Loved it.
So remember, guys,
and to make all of those new memories as well.
Yeah.
So many photos,
absolutely.
so many kind of new experiences. It was it's great. And for anyone that doesn't have a parent like me, it's nice to be able to kind of feel like you're part of a
family.
Yeah.
Well, you are part of a family.
Are.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yes. No getting away from it now.
So anyway, guys, we really hope you've enjoyed our little series showing our trip to Dubrovnik. Remember, if you like what you see, it really helps the channel. If you like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, turn on the notifications button so that when we release new content, you know all about it. And we do love to hear what you think of our content as well. So feel free to drop a comment in the comments box below, and we will always do our best to reply to comments as soon as they're made. So anyway, thanks for watching.
Or head on over to Instagram as well,
Yeah.
and drop us a comment on there. And there's loads of content that we actually post live when we're there, so you can get a feel of the actual vlogs as and when they're coming up.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed the series. Hope you're all keeping well. We'll see you on the next vlog. But for today, take care of yourselves and each other.
Bye.
Bye.